Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin.
I never thought I'd be the one to shatter the life I swore to protect. I was the one who made vows, who promised to be a haven for the man who gave me everything, his trust, his heart, his future. But I broke those promises, one by one, until the home we built together was nothing but ashes. This isn't a story about being betrayed. It's about becoming the betrayer and learning, too late, the price of your own choices. That I met Daniel when I was 24, fresh out of grad school and navigating my first teaching job at a small community college. He was a history professor, 8 years my senior, with a quiet confidence that drew me in. His eyes crinkled when he laughed, and he had this way of making even the mundane feel profound, like he could find meaning in a rainy afternoon or a burnt dinner. We fell in love fast, moved in together within a year, and married 2 years later. For 7 years, we were a team. We dreamed of opening a little bookstore together, adopting a dog, maybe even moving to a small coastal town someday. Daniel was my rock, the one who held me together through late-night grading sessions and family dramas. I called him my lighthouse, guiding me back when I felt lost. And he was. Which makes what I did so much worse. That IT started with a spark I didn't see coming. A new colleague, Leo, joined the English department. He was a poet, all sharp wit and restless energy, the kind of person who could make a lecture hall feel like a stage. He wasn't like Daniel, who was steady and predictable in the best way. Leo was chaos. Wild ideas, late-night debates about literature. A voice that seemed to pull you into his orbit. At first, I told myself it was just admiration. He was talented, charismatic, and I was just curious. I swore I'd never let it go further. I loved Daniel. I wasn't that kind of person. I believed our marriage was untouchable. But then came the late evenings. Leo and I were paired on a curriculum project, spending hours in the faculty lounge, papers strewn across the table, coffee cups piling up. We'd laugh about absurd student essays or argue over the merits of modern poetry. It felt alive, electric, in a way I hadn't realized I'd been missing. The first time Leo brushed his hand against mine, reaching for the same book, my heart raced. I pulled back, told myself it was nothing, that I'd never let it happen again. That was my first broken promise. That a month later, we were at a department dinner, and Leo leaned in during a quiet moment, his lips grazing mine. I froze, my mind screaming to stop, but I didn't pull away. That was the second promise broken. And then one night after a poetry reading off campus, I ended up at his loft. The air was thick with wine and unspoken tension. And when he kissed me again, I didn't stop him. That was the final promise, shattered into pieces. I told myself it was a one-time thing, a mistake I'd bury and move past. But one night became two, then a string of stolen moments. I was living a double life. Daniel's devoted wife by day, Leo's secret by night. The worst part? I was good at hiding it. Daniel never suspected a thing. He'd come home from his lectures, wrap his arms around me, and ask about my day with that same warm smile. I'd lie, smile back, and let him love a version of me that was crumbling. The guilt was a constant ache, but Leo was like a drug. Every time I swore I'd end it, I'd see him again, his crooked grin, his voice reciting lines from Neruda, and I'd fall back into the spiral. I crossed every line I'd once sworn I'd never even approach. Then it all came crashing down. Daniel had been planning a surprise for our anniversary, a weekend at a cabin by the lake, just the two of us. He'd been dropping hints, excited about reconnecting after a busy semester. I should have been thrilled, but my stomach twisted. I'd already promised Leo I'd meet him that weekend for a literary conference in the city. I lied to Daniel, said I had a mandatory work retreat. He nodded, disappointed but trusting, and said, "I just want us to find our way back to each other, Sarah." His words cut deeper than I could admit. That Friday, I was at Leo's apartment, my mind half present, when the doorbell rang. My heart stopped. Daniel stood there, holding a bouquet of wildflowers, his face pale. He'd tracked my phone, worried when I hadn't answered his calls. The moment he saw Leo saw me, his expression shifted from confusion to a quiet, gut-wrenching pain. He didn't shout or curse. He just looked at me, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is what you chose over us." I tried to speak, to explain, but there was nothing to say. He turned and walked away, the flowers falling to the floor. The aftermath was a void. Daniel moved out that week. Our friends, who'd once called us the perfect couple, distanced themselves. My family was ashamed. And Leo? He pulled back the moment the affair became real. No more late-night texts, no more stolen glances. He'd wanted the thrill, not the fallout. I was alone, surrounded by the wreckage of my choices. The house we'd shared felt like a museum of our life together. Daniel's books still on the shelves, his handwriting on old grocery lists, the quilt he'd bought for our first winter together. I couldn't escape him. Daniel didn't fight me during the divorce. He didn't demand explanations or drag it out. He just signed the papers and vanished from my life. His silence was worse than any confrontation. It screamed of a love I'd broken beyond repair. Now a year later, I'm still in our old house, though it's not a home anymore. It's a shell, filled with ghosts of the life we could have had. I see Daniel in every corner. The chair where he'd read, the kitchen where we'd danced to old jazz records. I betrayed him, yes, but I also betrayed myself, the woman I thought I was. I wonder if Daniel's found happiness again. If he's with someone who sees him for the gift he is. I hope so. He deserves a love that doesn't falter, that doesn't break under temptation. As for me, I live with the weight of what I've done. I destroyed the trust we built, the dreams we shared, the family we might have had. Promises are fragile things, easy to make when life feels certain. But when desire tests you, you learn their true cost. I didn't just betray Daniel. I betrayed my own heart. And that's a wound I'll carry for the rest of my life.